4, 3, 2, 1. Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.
Hey guys, welcome to our first episode of Level Up with Lydia. I am your host, Lydia Navo, and I am here with our main co-host, my partner, Derek Palmer.
At least I'm no side piece.
No side piece. But welcome, and I almost said Palma, by the way. Yes, we can keep this in here. Because we are the non-traditional business coaches, and we want to bring this podcast to you because, hey, we mess up. We have faults, flaws, all these vulnerabilities, and we want to bring to you our stories, our struggles, how we overcame them, how we overcome them with our clients, because we've both seen, I know I've seen hundreds of clients. How many clients have you had in your coaching career?
Yeah, hundreds.
Yeah, hundreds, right? So we've seen hundreds of business owners who have been going through the thick of it, who are vulnerable with us, who've had failures, and we've helped them overcome most of them. And we want to bring all those stories to you. So over the next years in this podcast, you're going to be hearing not just from us, but from other business owners who are maybe going through the thick of it, or they've come out on the other side and they have advice and real life tactics for you to use in your business so that you can grow specifically this year in 2026 and beyond that. So I'm really looking forward to this, and I'm glad you're here for the first episode.
Thanks for the invitation.
Yeah, because I think people need to know who the heck we are and why trust us, right? So
Wait, they're supposed to trust us?
I hope so.
Okay.
We'll see. I mean, we've had hundreds of people do it before, so, we'll see. But let's start with you, Derek. Tell us a little bit about how did you get started in business coaching? What brought you to business coaching? Because I know when I started, I actually had no idea what business coaching was when I got into the industry. So tell us how you found out about it and how you got started.
So I named the business all the way back in 2009. I've wanted to do this for my entire life. Level Up was a passion project for me. I was in sales and I just got so frustrated with sales managers always ripping my head off. And I got so frustrated with just never being able to feel like I was building something of my own. And eventually I ended up going into the cemetery and funeral home industry. And I had a really good career there. I really loved serving families. I loved the sales element of it. And I learned a ton about corporate structure and organizational stuff and SOPs and all that fun stuff. But what I really didn't realize until really the end of my death care career was that I was ready to take that next step into being a business coach. But then I got what I think most business owners get, and that's scared to death. And I went and took a job at a home services company.
No pun intended with the funeral homes.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. Definitely. That joke always vaults my way to the top. People are dying to see me. I've got them all. But when I left death care and I went into this home services business, we grew from 750,000 to 7.5 million in 19 months.
Damn.
And I got fired.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because they sold the business, and when they sold the business, they didn't need me anymore. And I was on the way home that I realized that was my first consulting client, except it was just a W-2. And when that happened to me, I went home that day and I built out my website and I started my business and went all in.
That's amazing.
And I was terrified.
Yeah.
And I got my client. I got really blessed. Sometimes bigger powers come to be, and I had my first client by the end of my first day.
Wow.
Yeah.
How did you make that happen? Because I think that's something that business owners or people who are thinking about starting a business, there's all this fluff about, well, you got to use social media and you got to go cold call and you got to door knock and you got to network. And it's like, okay, well, when you start a business, you got a client on the first day. How did you do it?
So I got really blessed. The power base that I had met a lot of other people in that same home services realm, and they had been recruiting me or trying to recruit me for like a year and a half. And I called them and let them know that I was no longer with that company. And they offered me a job on the spot. And I said, well, I'm not going to take a full-time job with you, but let me tell you about what project I'm working on. And this is how I can help you. And they agreed, and they were a client for 2 years.
Awesome. So reaching out to current connections, I think that's something that people wildly underutilize when they're starting a business is who do you already know that could benefit from your services? And that's including family, friends, even if it's uncomfortable. A lot of them could probably use your help and start there.
Using your power base as an alliance is so important. I think that when you enter into being an entrepreneur or a solopreneur, you have to stop fucking caring what other people think.
Yeah.
The minute you start worrying about what other people think is the minute that you go back into employee mindset and you start freaking out. we get into our heads so easily because we've been conditioned to be in a box. One of the things that's really always stuck with me is I feel like our parents, our teachers, our preachers, our ministers, whoever, have ruined us. We were born wanting to take massive action. We were born wanting to run as hard as we could. And by about 3, 4, 5 years old, they didn't want to handle our energy. They wanted us to slow down, sit down, be quiet so they could handle their life, right? And a lot of us took that really seriously and we started conforming to social parameters,
Yeah.
right? Broken people like you and I said, no, we're not doing that shit. And we just decided that we were going to go all in.
Yeah.
And so there's moments of fear, anxiety, doubt, all of this that goes along with being a business coach. Cody Sanchez says this best. If you are a business owner and you haven't sat in the dark with your hands holding your head, then are you really a business owner? And that resonates with me. Like every time I get to that place, because we all get there and it's like, okay, that means I must be doing some things right because there's enough things going wrong that means I've got some activity to go.
Right. Yeah. No, I love that. And I think it's really interesting that you bring it back to like when we were kids, because there's so many things that we hear. I mean, I know that my parents are like, no, just get a job. Get a job, get a family, have kids, do this. And it's like, well,
Oh,
no.
the plan.
Get the plan, right? And yes, and I have kids now. I have a 6 and a 3-year-old, and I very much catch myself trying to not be the shh, that, right? Because we were told, don't talk to strangers. Well, what is networking? It's talking to strangers, right? It's just all of these things that yes, as we were growing up, we were told one thing or another, and some thoughts stick with us. And unfortunately, a lot of people have those things that are going to be negative as a business owner, and we need to break those.
And we also just have to realize that not everybody is going to be our client and not everybody is our cup of tea.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people who just don't like me. And you know what? I'm okay with that because the clients that I'm looking to help appreciate my energy. They appreciate the fact that I'm authentic and they appreciate the fact that I'm going to tell them the truth, even in moments where they don't want to know the truth.
Yeah.
Because if you're a real friend, friendship to me is being able to look your friend in the eye and say, Lydia, what you're doing is not helping you.
Yeah.
And I love you enough to help you through this, right? And I bring that element to my consultancy because if we don't have that, then that means we're pretending. And I think too many other business coaches are afraid to just tell the damn truth.
Yeah, well, and on that, most business owners don't have anybody that's doing that for them, right? So I think a lot of people, especially what I've seen with a lot of my clients, is it's not even the client that reaches out for help. It's the spouse or the daughter or the business partner who goes, hey, I think we need help, because a lot of people they don't listen to those people, right? My husband's an entrepreneur and I've tried to give him coaching advice, and you don't take that from friends and family, but those are who we're relying on the most to keep us going. And so I think it's really important to have that outside source of somebody that is holding your feet to the fire and is not afraid to call you out on it. So that's really awesome. So tell me, what has been your biggest success in your business so far?
Well, I guess two, one internally and one externally.
Okay.
Being around for 5 years to me is a really big deal.
It is.
That 5-year mark, I can't believe it's already been 5 years. On April 21st, it'll be 5 years that Level Up's been around.
Awesome.
And that really just seems unreal to me because I remember that first day and just the anxiety and the fear of that was real. From an external perspective, I helped a logistics and packaging company grow 187% in the first year of working with them. And they're a pretty large company, actually. And so for them to just go through a restructure and to be able to grow, it's just a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, any other things you want to share of your journey on starting the business, getting into business coaching, biggest advice for business owners?
Yeah. Your education doesn't matter. Your background doesn't matter. Your belief in who you are and how hard you're willing to work is the only fucking thing that matters. At the end of the day, I am a GED graduate. I have no other letters behind my name. I came from foster care. And the only reason I'm qualified to be here is because I was simply willing to work hard and do what it took to grow.
Yeah. I think it's putting your bullshit aside and saying, this is what needs to be done. I'm just going to do it. right?
Yeah.
And I love that. That's really awesome. And so me, how did I get here?
Yeah.
Right? How did I get sitting right here? So I'm going to take you back to when I was born. I'm just kidding. I'm not going to do that. But I am going to take you back to high school.
It was a
'cause
Friday
I do
night,
think
right?
it actually, yes, it was a Friday night. I do think it is actually important to go back to even how I got to coaching. Because like I said, that was never on my playing card growing up. I wanted to be a teacher. I wanted to be a firefighter. I wanted to be a marine biologist, because every kid was obsessed with dolphins back then, right? And so I wanted to be all those things. And it goes back to parents. Love my parents to death. They have supported me my entire life completely and wholeheartedly. But of course, they're going, you should probably pick something a little more serious, right? And so when I was applying for colleges and trying to figure out what I wanted to do, my dad was like, you're really good at art. You're really good at math. Be an architect. And I was just like, okay, Dad, right? So I did. And I went to school. I went to LSU. I did 5 years of architecture because that's what it takes. Only 36 of us graduated in our graduating class. It's a very hard program. And I did it. And every semester I cried and said I wanted to quit, but I kept doing it, right? I got persistence. Didn't want to be the failure, but I kept doing it every year. I did graduate. I did work in architecture, but I knew deep down that was not what I wanted to do forever. It was a job. It was fine. I enjoyed it. And I was working for a firm here in Houston, and we did the giant big homes. I loved them in River Oaks type area. And it was so much fun, but we started to get slow. And so I started to network. And when I was networking, which again, no idea what networking is, don't talk to strangers, shy as can be. Yes, me shy, by the way. Grew up very shy. But I was networking and I met somebody who was a business coach. And at the time, he was the #1 business coach in the organization internationally. And he said at one point, after I got to know him, he said, I'm looking for a marketing person, and all they need to know how to do is spell marketing, and I'll teach them everything else. Well, my husband and I are both architects, and so we decided, maybe it's a good idea to diversify. And this guy's the #1 in the world in what he does. Wouldn't it be cool to learn from him? Even though I still didn't really know what business coaching was. So I applied for the job, I got it, and I was doing marketing for the company, which was fine. But what I fell in love with wasn't even the business aspect of it. It was the helping people aspect. I would see clients come in and they would be disheveled, hands in the head, right? Oh my God, I'm having the worst week ever. Holy crap, this client did this.
Riding that roller
all of these,
coaster.
yes, that. But then they left the office just a little bit lighter, or like, okay, I have a plan, or okay, like, and I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be the person that helped them go from, oh my God, I think I need to close doors, to, nope, we got this, we can do this, we're going to be the best ever. And so that's what really got me into coaching, is to be that kind of catalyst for business owners. So I did my training, got certified, coached many businesses in all different industries, and then decided, you know what? I feel kind of like a hypocrite because I'm teaching all these business owners how to run their business and I don't even have a business. And so that's kind of when I took the step of saying, you know what? I'm going to do this on my own. And I went on, and yes, it was so scary.
Terrifying.
Terrifying. But I did have a good group of network of people to help me to get started. And so I did just that. And then we met, and it's been great ever since.
Yeah, Lydia was my business coach and I was her business coach. We made an agreement after meeting that we would exchange services, because one of the things that is often underestimated is coaching the coach. And
Which fear the coach who doesn't have a coach.
right?
I know we use this analogy a lot and it might be overused, but think about professional sports, right? The Astros win a World Series. They don't get rid of all their coaches. They probably get more coaches, better coaches, because in order to keep doing better, to keep succeeding, to keep pushing yourself, you need that external force to hold you accountable, to keep learning, to keep growing.
Well, and I didn't want to like you.
I remember that.
You were introduced by a mutual friend of ours, and I went into the meeting low-key looking to judge the hell out of you.
Yeah.
And what did it take? About 5 minutes?
Yeah.
5-10 minutes into the conversation, I was like, damn it. All right, I kind of like her. And within the hour, we were like exchanging a trade.
Yeah.
And I remember it was our second or maybe third. And that,
I think it was our third, but
Yeah.
yes, it was very early on.
it was so damn good,
Yeah.
dude. That I remember getting off of that call going, wow, like this really helped me immediately. And this was actionable stuff that could go help me today.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was
mutual.
mind blowing.
Yeah.
It was so good.
It was awesome. But I even remember our first call sitting down, and both of us were just kind of like, Well, this is weird because again, it's that the business coach should know everything. Why do we need a business coach? Because we're human, right? Even though we might know what to do, are we doing it? Think about going to the gym. You know you need to go to the gym, and you know you need
I feel
to do.
targeted.
Oh, you're not targeted. But whatever. No, but I mean, really, that's what it is. Everybody knows you eat less, you work out. But how many people actually do it? Because they don't have anybody holding their feet to the fire. That's all business coaching is. This is what you need to do. I'm going to make sure you get it done, and we're going to move on, period.
Yeah. And I think your strength in consulting is so driven by that linear thinking of A plus B does equal C. If you do the right things in the right increments, you get the right result.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that my strength in consulting is let's dive into the weeds and figure out where the structure is breaking down so we can repair it so it's a permanent fix.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like very early we discovered that there's this yin and yang because we just do different things within that realm that move the needle.
Yeah.
So who would you say is the ideal client for you?
Yeah. And I always talk about it in a couple different buckets, but they're all kind of the same, right? So trades and franchises are actually great. I mean, every person needs coaching, but trades and franchises. And the reason I say that trades can be broken down into, oh my goodness, home service type trades, or it can be professional services. So accountants, doctors, dentists, lawyers, as well as plumbers, HVAC, drywallers, builders. Those are the two buckets. And the reason I say those two is because so many people, again, they go to school for a long time to learn their trade, right? I went to school for 5 years, plus there's tons of tests, plus there's tons of interning to become an architect. But never in those however many years did I ever learn a lick of business, of how to run a business. And yet so many of those people start businesses. And so that's why coaching is so important, is because you can be the best plumber in the entire world, in the universe. And you go, I'm going to do this better on my own because I am the best plumber. But you start a business, and just because you're the best plumber doesn't mean you know how to do marketing or sales or run a team
or
hire.
Read a P&L.
Or yes, or to know what a P&L is.
Yeah.
Right. And so that's a really good target, is just people who are really good at their trade, but have just never had business education. You don't know what you don't know.
It's exactly right. I use the painting analogy, use plumbing. What is a painter good at? Painting, right? They don't need to or spend the time in the early stages of their business because they're just trying to get the cash flow to be able to keep going, right? And so they're out hustling and bustling, trying to get the next painting job.
Yeah.
And if you look at painting franchises, their average revenue per year is $195,000 nationwide. Their entire franchise does $195,000. The reason that is because they understand what they can perform at, and they go do all of the work themselves, and they max out exactly what their competency and capacity is, but they don't know how to go hire employees. They don't know how to recruit. They don't know how to market. They don't know how to
take a vacation because they can't.
Right. And so and franchises, there's this fallacy that franchising is the most secure business you can purchase. Because according to the SBA, they go out of business the least amount. Well, that's true, but the reason for that is because they're plug and play businesses that allow the owner to be an operator, and unless that person just quits, they just are able to keep going. Right? And it's fun to watch the light go on in somebody's eyes when they realize that they don't have to work in the business every day. They can work on the business and it still continues to grow.
But also, I think that's a big thing, is we have people come to us saying, I'm tired of working in the business. And that's the whole thing, is how do we get you out of the business to be the business owner?
Yep.
There is a flip side to that I do want people to understand, because I've come across a handful of people who really don't want to run the business. They want to own the business, but they really just want to do the trade. And that's okay too, as long as we understand we need to hire the person to then coach, to then run the business.
Well, and that was an epiphany for me. So in year 4 of my business, well, now our business, I hired the president of our company, Karen Craig, and a lot of people came to me and were like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why would you hire somebody to become the president? And I'm like, because she's better at doing that role than I am. And I need somebody to take on these 4 or 5 things so I can go do what I'm good at.
Yeah.
I saw a YouTube video or maybe a YouTube short or a TikTok, and it like lasted. It was like, you ever watch a video that just feels so targeted, it just punches you in the mouth?
So many.
This one was talking about how goldfish can't climb a tree and how, and I use this analogy all the time now.
That's from a book or something, but yes, I know exactly. Yeah.
We expect goldfish to climb trees every day.
Yeah.
And I realized in my business, I was expecting myself to do all the shit that I didn't want to do, that I'm not good at, that I wasn't equipped to do. And going into these consulting appointments, telling all of my clients to do the stuff that I'm not willing to do. And so finally, when Karen came into my world, and it was just so clear she was the right person to just kind of guide the ship, right? And so I approached her with it, and I was nervous because I was like, I don't think she's good. She's very successful. She's an award-winning author. She's got a lot of stuff going on in her world. And in the most Karen fashion, and I hope you have her on your podcast here
Oh,
soon,
for sure.
because Karen is so unique in the way she communicates. I
Yes.
love her.
It'll be entertaining.
For sure.
Maybe we'll have to have wine during that one. That might have to be a...
Undoubtedly, that is going to happen. And when you have Bricado, you guys are going to have to smoke cigars.
Oh, actually, okay. All right.
Yeah. But I described to her, and I'm really nervous about this. So I'm like describing what I need. And she's like, oh, yeah, I could do that. What's next? And that was it.
Find the right people and it just falls into place.
It really does.
Yeah.
And so if you're a business owner that is missing a piece, allow your ego to go for just a minute. Allow that moment to realize, am I just trying to fit a square peg into a round hole? And am I the bottleneck? Am I the reason that this isn't working?
Answer is probably yes, by the way.
Absolutely. One of my first clients, this business has been in business for 20 years, and they've never cracked $3 million. They're right at that 2.5 to 3 million pretty much every year. And I went into the business, and I'm just, the first 30 days, I'm just kind of watching, like, what's happening. And what I realized was all roads from every department led directly back to the same person. And I'm like, you just need an operations manager. And they're like, no. Last time I did that, it didn't work out, blah, 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 right? And I'm like, okay. So we train them and we redo this. You don't give up, right? And finally, it took me 6 months to get this guy to like actually try. And we hired the right operations manager. We trained them and we got them in the right position. And they immediately went to $6 million for the first time in 20 years. And now their growth trajectory is just so much stronger. And he's so much happier because he's not having to worry about the shit that he's not good at.
Yeah.
He can focus on the networking. He can focus on the front end, and he can focus on the stuff that matters to him.
Yeah.
Because the fallacy in my mind, and I'm curious to see what your thought is, we feel like we carry the entire weight of the world on our shoulders. And in a large part, we do as business owners, right? And so that means we have to do the hard thing all the time. And yeah, there is a lot of this that's hard, right? And at the end of the day, the buck does stop with us, but it's our responsibility to realize where we're not serving our employee. We're not serving our customers. We're not serving our community. We're not serving anybody because we're getting in our own damn way.
Mm-hmm.
And when he had this moment, his company exploded.
Yeah. Yes.
I forgot what question I was going to ask you.
You're going to ask me what I felt about it.
Well, I guess my question is, how do we make a transition in our own self to get to the point where we're willing to actually give up the control? Because it's the ego that I struggle with, because I feel responsible for everything. And that means I just have to do everything.
Yeah. Well, and it always comes back to I don't even know what the saying is in my head. I'm like clarity, plan, action, whatever. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It is having clarity on what's needed and the plan in place, because if we don't have those things, then it's going to be very scary, right? If we're just like, I'm just going to hire someone, hope they help. Like, oh, help what, right? And so I think that the systems part, the part that I know you're really good at, and making sure we have a system to plug a person into. So you're building the company. You're not necessarily building a whole bunch of people that are just there. It sounds kind of weird, but you're building this company that it is a plug and place model. It's, hey, you have somebody that you're going to hire that fits this piece of the puzzle that's already created for them. The puzzle piece is there. It's just we're finding somebody that fits that piece. And then if they leave, all we have to do is find a new person that fits that piece.
Well, and that's when, so we do a lot of exit work and people that are wanting to retire or sell their business or whatever. And a lot of my clients have actually been driven from they want to sell. And I have to tell them there's nothing to sell,
yeah.
right? Well, we did $4 million in revenue last year. And I'm like, yeah, but you sold 3.6 million of it, right? And so unless you're willing to stay in perpetuity, there's nothing tangible to sell.
Yeah. Well, and your business is always up for sale. Whether you're actually wanting to sell your business or not, what happens if you get in a car wreck tomorrow? If you're the one that's in your business, 24 doing the work, doing the sales, and you get in a car wreck tomorrow, your business is gone, right? So your business really is always up for sale, because if you have already built the business to run without you and you get in a car wreck, right, you can sell it. You can have it running while you're in the hospital. You can, all of these things. So it really is you got to get it built to sell, whether you want to sell it or not. You have to get it to build to sell as fast as possible.
That's the difference between building a business that's an asset and building a business that's a liability.
Yeah.
Because I see so many businesses that are built to become liabilities, and they bury themselves in SBA loans. They bury themselves in all of this debt. And then they feel like they have to be the one to go sell themselves out of it, right? The word solopreneur seems to make people feel like it's like a micro business.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different word. Micro businesses are just really small businesses, right? A solopreneur can do $100 million a year in revenue. If they're the ones producing all $100 million, that business is still worth not
zero.
very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't want to say 0 on 100 million, but yeah. I mean, it's very diminished because all roads lead back to that one person.
Right. Yeah. Nobody can buy it without buying that person.
Yeah.
Right. So,
and that's illegal. I checked.
To buy a person?
Yeah.
Damn it. So many businesses we can buy. Oh, man.
No, for real. So let me ask you this. What is your number one goal with your podcast? I know this is the first video, so what are you hoping to achieve?
I don't have any goals for the podcast.
None?
I'm joking. I'm totally joking.
I was about to say, we need to schedule a session.
No, of course we have goals for the podcast. Really the goals are to be able to help as many people as possible, because there are a lot of people who need help that still can't afford it, right? Or maybe they don't know they need help. And that's what I want them to get from this, is listen to it enough to go, it's okay to ask for help. I'm at that point, or like, oh, that resonates with me. That's exactly what I need to ask when I ask for help. Because a lot of people, I think, also don't know what they need help with. So I want people to listen to it and just go, oh, I resonate with that. That's what I need help with. Oh, that's the part of business I'm at. That's where I'm at the stage of my business, and take action on it. Right. So listen to the podcast, get the nuggets that can help you, but then also get the realization of where you're actually at, and stop. What did you say earlier? Like, stop trying to pretend that everything's all fine and dandy. I mean, how many business owners are talking, everything's going great, and you're like, is it? Are you even profitable? Like, what's going on? So I just want people to listen, be vulnerable, and say, hey, this is what I need help with, and comment on this, right? Comment on the podcast and say, hey, next week I want you to cover this. Like, if you have those questions, I want you to be able to get the help you need so that you can be successful enough to then go hire your team or hire your coach or whatever it is.
Hiring a business coach, whether it's us or somebody else.
Can be anybody else. You might not like us. That's cool.
It's not cool. Follow us anyway. We need the follows. But the biggest piece of this is get somebody to help hold you accountable, and realize that you do have control over your own destiny, and that you don't have to be a slave to time anymore. You can control your own future. And we're not, as you can tell through this podcast, we're going to fucking cuss on this podcast. We're going to be authentic. If you don't like it, sorry. That's just who we are. Because at the end of the day, life is hard, life is real, and life is R-rated. And this podcast is going to be all of those things, because when we seek to make the biggest changes in our life, we need truth serum, and this podcast is going to be that.
I love that. Yeah, truth serum. Hey, we're watching Harry Potter right now with our kids. They just did the truth serum.
Yep.
Anyways, random tangent, which we will go on lots of because about 90% of the people on this probably have ADHD in some way, shape, or form.
Can we get an Adderall sponsorship? Because it'd be so cool if the beginning of this podcast could go, this podcast is brought to you by Adderall. Adderall, keeping level up going.
Yeah, right? No, but really, it's the business owner really is, whether you actually have ADHD or not. That's that mindset. You're doing all things all the time, all at once, and trying to make it all work. And so we want to try and maybe just make it a little clearer, maybe a little calmer for you as you listen to these.
I don't know about calmer, and it'll be about as clear as mud. But no, Lydia is a fantastic host, and I'm thankful for having the opportunity to be the first one to join.
Yeah.
I think that this is going to provide people information, education, and reality. And so thanks for building Level Up with Lydia.
Yeah, thank you so much. And if you guys want to be a part of Level Up with Lydia, if you want to be a guest, if you have questions, if you just want maybe there's a topic that you want us to talk about, please comment below. Please follow us. Please share this. We appreciate all the support we can get. And this is Level Up with Lydia.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Level up, level up, level up, level up, level up.